Okay, CQ, the old friends net. This is N4LQ, November 4, Lima, Quebec. In Shelby, North Carolina, Steve is the name. And the old friends net meets here every night at 8 p.m. on 1864, running AM amplitude modulation only. And we are a directed net. We take check-ins, put them in order, and pass it around in a round table fashion. N4LQ is listening for check-ins.
Good evening, Steve. WA4LLR.
K3OS. WF2U.
K4QE.
Well. Oh, interesting. That's 4 check-ins, and nobody is real strong tonight. Maybe the band's not quite ready, but we are, and we're going to do it anyway. At least I can hear everybody, and I guess just turn up the gain and put your ear up to the speaker and listen close. It's 40 degrees, supposed to go down to, what, 19 or something? Saturday night's the big night. It's supposed to get down to 12 degrees here in Shelby, so we got some cold weather on the way. So here's the order that I've got it. WA4LLR, Dave, K3OS Gary, WF2U Mir, and then K4QE Tony, and hope the XYL has returned. Anybody else want to check in? That hum sounds familiar. Sounds like Brian.
W4JPL.
Maybe that was Brandon. John, W4JPL. So I think maybe that was Brandon before you. Brandon, are you out there? It was either that or Brian. Good hum, though. Anybody else want to check in?
W4GZ.
Yes, it was Brandon. All right. Your hum is actually has gotten better than Brian's now. All right. So I got LLR, OS, F2U, QE, GUZ, and then JPL, and anybody else? All right, we're ready for a good time. Go ahead and take it, Dave. WA4LLR, N4LQ.
All right, Steve. N4LQ, WA4LLR. Good evening, everybody. About 33 degrees, overcast. Not doing anything yet, but they're saying a mix tonight, snow, rain, or snow, sleet, freezing rain, snow showers, on and on and on. So we'll see what develops. Yeah, Friday, high of 33 and a low of 9, but Saturday's the day, high of 14 and a low of 6 is what they're calling for right now. So we'll just have to wait and see. Run the Valiant 2, receiving on the 129X. So down to you, Gary, K3OS. WA4LLR.
Okay, Dave, WA4LLR, K3OS. Let's see if we're getting enough modulation here. Well, it actually doesn't look too bad. I didn't realize you were running AM tonight, so I've got the ICOM on tonight, running about 100 watts with it looks all right with the amplifier on. I could kick it up another 25, but it wouldn't make much difference. I wanted just to see what the AM modulation looks like, but it's peaking. My peak meter shows about 400, which is about right. Anyway, yeah, I guess we got some weather coming along, and been cold for the past week. It looks like I'm going to get colder, and then all of a sudden next week it's there you go. Anyway, I'm just doing a little rebuilding work for the. I've got the ICO 720 on the bench at the moment, and I did decide, for those who heard me on Tuesday, to put together a little solid-state rectifier tube substitute, and just so I could bring it up slowly. So that's working up. I'm actually sitting here in the just with no loaded power supply and nothing else on. I'm trying to rebuild the caps in there, and I'm up to about 300 volts at about 50 volt line voltage at the moment on the Variac. So little by little, we'll see whether it works or not. I've been pretty successful with these things. They look pretty good, so we'll see what happens over the next couple of days. I let them sit there, typically jump at about 50 volts and let them cook for an hour or two before I go up a little bit, and then as I get closer to the top end of where it's supposed to be, I change that to about a 25 volt increment and see how we do. So that's part of the project that's going on here. Let's see, down to Mir, WF2U, K3OS.
Yeah, Gary, K3OS and the group WF2U. Well, good evening, everybody. And signals are not that great. Steve, your stroke as usual, but Gary is not that strong. I think Brian was a little bit stronger. Tony was also sort of medium strength, so to speak, because I don't have an S meter on this radio. The noise level is a little bit higher than usual. It's still like sort of an elevated ambient kind of environmental noise. It's not electrical, it's just noisy. But I can copy everybody. Using again the Kenwood CKF 707 marine radio, 150 watts PEP. Looks like it's doing that on AM as well. on single side, on upper side band. And the antenna is the usual end-fed half-wave for 160. Anyway, I have some plans putting a real AM transmitter here, and I have a couple of options. So maybe this weekend I'll be able to get something arranged here. I have to clear some boxes and things like that to get to that stuff. But I have two options actually. I might just well, yeah, I'm going to use a military radio for that. I have a Czechoslovakian military transmitter and receiver combo that I imported. It's from the Warsaw Pact time, and I got it with practically no time on it. It was probably just factory tested. So it was basically brand new when I got it. And manufacturing date is 1968. All tubes, except the rectifiers in the power supply. And it puts out about 100 watts on CW, and puts out just as much PEP on AM, but it's both sideband, and it goes down to 1.6, so 160 meter is not a problem. I use that radio a lot actually to check into the old military radio net. Saturday morning net at like 5:30 in the morning on 80 meters. Since then, I can't get to the shack by that time, so I abandoned that one. I mean that net. Anyway, so that is a very good option for me to put on. It's very stable. It has a crystal synthesizer. It changes frequencies by steps in spite of being a tube radio, and it goes by 100 kilohertz steps, and it's variable in between the 100 kilohertz steps. Totally variable in between. So that's the one that I'm going to use. Maybe I'll use, yeah, that should work fine. So back, it goes to Tony, and yeah, give us a report about your wife. Hopefully everything is okay and she's out of there. K4QE and the group, WF to you.
All right. Thank you very much, and good evening to everyone. Steve, Dave, Gary, Mayor, Brannon, and John. Mary Ann came home today. Brought her home this afternoon. Everything's doing fine. She's in little pain, so that's a good thing. And we're waiting on test results next week. So saw the surgeon today, and everything looks good. And off we go. She's not allowed to lift anything heavier than about 10 pounds in the next month. So, but she's doing fine. She's in great spirits. She's back to her usual self, and all is well. And I thank everyone for their thoughts, prayers, and concern. It's most appreciated. And I wasn't around for the net on 75 meters this morning to hear if there was any news on Terry, so if anyone's heard anything, I'd appreciate hearing about it. And I'm on a different radio tonight. I am on a Yaesu FTDX 1200 with a Heil Gold Line microphone, and I'm driving the Mercury Lux with it, and of course the same antenna. So any reports of audio quality would be appreciated. And over to you, Brannon, W4GUZ from K4QE.
Okay, Tony. Well, good evening, everybody. Steve, have I got a hum? I never had a hum on this transmitter. Anyway, good evening. Been a busy day. Hate I missed this morning on 85, but I was getting my Connex box delivered today, and supposed to have been here at 10 o'clock, so Dad come over bright and early, and we took a mattock and used it as an ice pick, and got everything set and figured out ways to tie ropes to cross ties to be able to pull them underneath it as they let the Connex box down. Then they called back and said, well, you're the second delivery for today. So finally showed up about 3 o'clock this afternoon and didn't have quite enough room to unload it, so we had to have a gooseneck and a 3500 Dodge, and he had to unhook, and I had to call the wife, she was working for her father today, and she went to her father's house and picked up the big Kubota and come trucking along 5 miles up the road at about 8 or 9 miles an hour, and then had to find the attachment for the back for the ball, and if it wasn't for it, I think the guy was fixing to jump the ditch and bust an oil pan and head back to South Carolina, but we didn't tear up jack, and it's a 40-foot container 2.5 feet away from the back side of the building, and there's 1/2 of an inch difference of it being perfectly parallel with the building, so I am happy, and the building's in good shape. And we were taking bets on what color it was going to be. I was hoping it was not going to be pink with Obama written on the side of it, and it turned out that it's green, and most of the paint's still there. So a good coat of Cool Seal, which is silver, will make it look almost the same color as the gray building, and I'm tickled to death that this is over with. Terry report, Cliff and Linda both went and seen him today. He's very weak, not very good mentally, from what I understood. They asked him if there's anything that they could do for him, and he said, I want the biggest milkshake that you can find. So that's when Cliff called me. They were on the way to get a milkshake for him, and he told them that he hadn't had any solid food since sometime way back in December, which is unheard of, but probably true. So put him up next to the top of the prayer list, and hopefully he can make it. He's a tough bird, and I'm sure he's wanting to at least get well enough to where he can take his ex-wife off from being power of attorney. From some of the stories I've heard in the past. No snow here yet. They're calling for sleet and all kinds of crap, so I'm ready for it now. All the nervous worry work's over with after the container got placed. W4JPL, how's Liberty today? W4G, is it?
KN4R. Here's Captain Brian. I don't know where you go, Brian. Steve will tell you what to do it yourself. I think maybe I give it to you. Steve, do I give it to him when I'm done?
That's correct.
See that? Brian, I'm not as dumb as I look. I'm writing that down. All right, well, good evening, everybody. W4JPL here, and I don't know what you guys are complaining about. It's sunny and 80 degrees here in Liberty. I don't know what you guys are talking about. We can get no snow here. It might rain overnight a little bit, but other than that, it's all just fine. Mir, you got good audio tonight. I usually have problems copying your audio, but that Kenwood, whatever it is you're running's got, you're not real strong, but you got nice clear audio with that beastie. Well, let's see. Today I got the BitX running, and I think Steve had the right assessment when he said it's really something you should toss in a can. It works. Works okay, I guess. It's a toy. I started to work on my NC303 today in the 45-degree weather. I was out there hosing it down and scrubbing it down. Maggie said I was out of my mind, but that's okay. We all know that. And the chassis is remarkably clean. It's just got a layer of dust on it. So that project is going to come along ever so nicely. I'll just have to paint the cabinet. Front panel's nice. The chassis is nice. Just the front cabinet's like, ugh. Or the cabinet, rather. So I'll just give that nice spray paint. The deal for the HRO60 is off. The guy said he had 4 coils for it, and when I questioned him on it, he says, yeah, it says E, and right behind her is the 4 coils you need for the different bands, right? I said, no, that's only for the broadcast band. I said, do you have any other things like that? Oh, no, just this one. That's enough, ain't it? I said, this guy obviously is in a ham. So he said, no. So I said, never mind, it's not worth it. Over to you, Brian. KN4R, W4JPL.
Yeah, okay, very good. W4JPL in the group. KN4R with Brown, W1NZR, standing by to take over the microphone. But very good. Brandon, congratulations on the new full-size Connex. That's wonderful, and thanks for the Terry report. A milkshake will probably do him very good. And John, okay, on 80 degrees and very bright over there, that must mean the lithium's on fire, and of course you can't put that fire out, so that's perfect. So anyway, here, I'll let you talk to Brown here. We've been down in Fort Mill. We brought back a Collins 2.5 kW transmitter, amplifier. Takes 250 milliwatts to drive it?
No, it's, yeah, you're right. Actually, it is.
250 milliwatts in, 2.5 kW out. So that's not too shabby. And it's serial number 1, by the way. So here's Brown. So I'll let Brown tell you the faux pas we had.
Gentlemen, good evening. W1NZR here. And thank you for allowing me through your speaker, even though you shouldn't. Yeah, we had a good adventure today. Went down to Gary's K4 MQG in Fort Mills. South Carolina, and retrieved a 204H1. But it actually has a military designation which escapes me at the moment, but it's really a prototype, actually serial number 1. So anyway, yeah, I went to remove all of the iron from it, and I removed one of the filament transformers and the plate choke, and then and then I unfastened the plate transformer, and in the insanity in rushing to complete the project, left it in the base of the transmitter, and took 3 of us to get it into the back of the pickup truck. So I'm embarrassed to admit that, but as usual, I make more mistakes than I make forward progress. So anyway, well, yeah, I did remove it prior to driving down the highway and causing any more damage, and it didn't cause any damage. So blah blah blah. It's just one of those things. I hope I don't get fooled again. And very good. I'm going to hand it back to Brian. Thanks for listening. Cheers.
And by the way, we went and found some of William Culpepper's stuff a couple of days ago at a transmitter site, and he told me that there's 2, well, in fact, I saw them, there's 2 BTA-1Ms up for grabs. So if anybody knows anybody that might have interest, that's 833s by 833s. Yep. So and they look, and I've got a few pictures. So and so anyway. So there's all sorts of things happening. So back up to you, Steve. N4LQ in the group, KN4R, and W1NZR.
Okay, KN4R, N4LQ. Very good round. Is there anybody else that would like to check in tonight? Come now. Okay. Well, very good. Brian, did you happen to, I remember Cliff was looking for capacitors for his transmitter. Did you happen to see any?
Well, I saw some in the BTA-1Ms, but I do have a name for the fella who bought all of Williams' big mica capacitors. So I need to send that information to Cliff so he can talk to the guy and tell him exactly what he needs. But this guy has, I guess he bought the whole group of them, and I don't know how he's selling them or what he wants for them, but I'll pass that contact information over to Cliff. Okay.
Okay. Very good. That sounds interesting, and congratulations on the 2.5 kW. Now, I assume that's carrier, and if we go 100% modulation, we've got 10,000 watts PEP, which probably limits the number of tuners out there that can handle that, or whatever you're going to do with it. Let's see here, and Gary, in your ICO 720, what flashed through my mind was Andy Griffith's show. Sheriff, what was that? Sheriff Andy Griffith? Sheriff, whatever his name was. Anyway, he always had that ICO 720 sitting on his desk, and some kind of a I don't know if it was a CB or a police radio or what, kind of looked like an early two-way job with a lever switch on it sitting on top of it, and no wires anywhere. So it probably was just a dummy, but I always thought, that's cool. An ICO 720, crystal socket empty on it, and no receiver. So let's see here. Ubitix. I'm not sure. There's a bunch of different Ubitix things out there, and I'm not sure what you have there. Is that a CW only transmitter, or what is that? I'm not even sure. The one I had, I think I had trouble getting the transmitter to work, or at least couldn't get enough power out of it to fool with, so I just kind of put it aside for a while, and then it just got in my way, so one day I just threw it in the garbage. Felt real good about doing that too. So, well, let's see here. I'm still keeping one eye on this on this LMAC AF67 on the desk here, which I'm using, and it's out of the cabinet. And I think as long as I keep it out of the cabinet, like Brian's transmitter, it'll probably be okay. I don't know. I'll probably stick it back in there pretty soon. It seems to have calmed down, and I'm driving the AL82, about 250 watts carrier, and the D104 mic. So let's see, that's about the size of it here. Go ahead, Gary, and tell us some more about your projects there. And I guess you still got the Gonset twins and what was that you were running the other day? The Kenwood twins. You had the Kenwood, was it the 599 twins? Brandon, I got your photos there of that big green dumpster. Container. Yeah, that looks great. You gonna paint it or just leave it green? Go ahead, Gary. K3OS, N4LQ.
N4LQ, K3OS. All right. And some of you guys have big projects here. I am now down to stuff that I can lift by myself. That is my mantra, if you will, that I live by. Yeah, we got all that stuff, Steve. The Gonset. I'm looking at it. The Gonset. Wait a minute. Didn't you pass Dave up?
Oh, I'm going to have to fix this. Go ahead. Go ahead, Dave, then give it back to Gary. How's that?
He's got a habit of doing that, Gary. I'm evidently extremely forgettable. Oh, mercy. Anyway, Tony, so glad to hear your wife did well and is back home. Pray for a very quick recovery. And good deal, Brandon. That big green box looks good behind your building. You can get a lot of stuff in that thing. Thanks for the Terry report. I was hoping that he was improving more rapidly, but maybe the milkshake will perk him up. That equipment, the radio equipment on the Andy Griffith show, in the early part of it, was some of Andy's ham gear because he was a ham operator. If you look at some of the later shows, they did go to Motorola dispatch type radios, but yeah, the ICOs were in there for sure. I thought that was kind of interesting that they had a couple of transmitters and no visible receiver, but oh well, most people would never catch it. Good evening to you, Brown. You're sounding good up here. Sounds like you guys had a lot of fun. And everybody's sounding good tonight. Signals aren't rock crushing, but no problem whatsoever. So, Gary, go ahead again. K3OS, WA4LLR.
All right, Dave. Two times in one turn. There you go. Yeah, I'm looking down at my list. I said, oh, wait a minute. Dave is there. Yeah, one of the, the fun visit for, if you haven't been there, is up to Mount Airy. And take a ride in the old police car, or get into the jail. It's a fun trip for the family, and even for not the family, just for you and your wife and whatever. Great time. Ubitix. I got one. I'll be glad to send you some of the parts that I have left over. I've been pulling parts out of those boards. Man, I never got that. I had one of the earlier ones, and I ended up putting some additional CW stuff on it to get rid of the key. I mean, the thing would thump in your ear like you couldn't keep the earphones on and all that stuff. And I kind of gave up with it, and it's now I call it a hacker's toy, and for me, anyway. It was clearly not a finished product at the time that I got it, so I kind of scrapped it. I do have I got the upgraded screen for it, the color programmable screen, which is really nice. And I may hang on to that and see if I can't put that to use. That's like a 3.5-inch screen that has just serial in and out, and you can program. The screen is smart. It's got a chip on it, and you can program the screen so you don't have to draw the graphics. You just send some simple serial commands to the screen, and the screen's changed. Quite clever. Trying to think who makes it, but I've got the programming for it. Anyway, but the Ubitix now, I kind of gave up with that. But I got the 720 and the 730 modulator, so I decided to start with the 720. Obviously, and it's pretty, it needs some serious. Well, I fixed some of the stuff. This is the one I was talking about the other day, which whoever built it, Danny, who built it, because he signed it, decided that the leads that come on all the disc capacitors should be used at their full length. So I trimmed off quite a few of them, and hopefully that'll work. I took out the line filter that I disliked having, and put a new line cord on, did all that stuff, cleaned up some connections that I thought were bad, did some redressing of some of the leads, not done as far as that I would like. So now I'm just going to see if I can rebuild the caps, and then we'll see if we can bring the entire transmitter up. I do happen to have a couple of crystals around that I can use for it temporarily. I've got a Heath HG10 VFO as well, a second one which I may designate to that. I know I have to step the voltage up, but I can do that pretty easily. So that's that particular project, and that's coming along. I just have to figure out where I need to have like an AM corner to put all the gear. And yeah, I had the Kenwood twins on the air. It produces really nice AM. I'm very pleased with it, and it's got a really good receiver on it too. Of course, all the transmit receive switching is built in. So I'm now trying to figure out how I want to key the VFO on the ICO. So everything's cathode. If I put the external VFO, how I want to key it, and do push to talk and antenna switching. But that'll all come in time. I got to get the stuff working. So down to Mir, you sound pretty good. I'm looking. You're generating one sideband here tonight, and looks like upper sideband, but sounds good. Let's see. And good evening to Tom, John, everybody else. Nice to hear everybody. WF2U, K3OS.
Yeah, very good, Gary. K3OS and the group WF2U. Yeah, you sound good too. Your signal is a little bit lower than usual. I think it's just conditions, but no problem, copy at all. And yeah, no wonder that it's upper sideband with full carrier, because that's the mode that this transceiver works on AM. I'm using this Kenwood Marine transceiver. The model number is TKM 707. TKM 707 puts out 150 watts PEP, and that includes on AM with one sideband. And it's also the standard. It's the standard in international shipping that single sideband AM nowadays with the single sideband radios is just upper sideband with full carrier, and the standard on the marine band is upper sideband only. In fact, I had to change the setup program here. I have to get into the programming a little bit to enable lower sideband and open up the frequency range for transmit to cover the ham band. That was That was dip switches. And it's only mentioned in the service manual how to do that. And not in the user manual, which is only geared to the marine users. And so that's what I'm using right now, because although I have several transmitters that would work on a regular AM, both sidebands, right now I would have to move some stuff and recable some stuff. It's on the other side of the shack. And my regular setup that I used here for AM on 160 was the ICOM 7300 and the AL1200 amplifier. I'm not using right now because a couple of weeks ago when I turned the amplifier on, I heard some crackling noises. The high voltage wasn't even on, so I didn't have time to open it up and then turn it on to see if I can see any problems. I won't turn the high voltage on it until I know what's going on. So in the meantime, I have to do something else. Anyway, John, good signal there, and Brian, good signal of W4GUZ, and KN4R, Brian, with Brown, you have good signal too, and glad you had a nice day hauling a monster. I know the feeling. Except I always did it by myself, well, that's probably too big for doing it yourself, but or maybe not. I have no idea what that amplifier looks like anyway, so maybe somebody can get a photo of it and some specs. And I'm not familiar with that ETA1M, although the ET usually is the prefix for some RCA radio marine transmitters, but I'm not sure what that is. So maybe Brian, you could send some email if you have a picture or something. Would be interesting to see. If I guess I have no idea now who it goes to, so pick it up, whoever it goes to, and maybe it's back to you. Steve, I understand. I don't know. So just straighten it out. This is WSCU.
Okay. All right, Mayor, very good. And good evening to Brian and to Brown. Good to hear both of you on here tonight. And nice to meet you, Brown. And I'm hearing everybody pretty well tonight. The signals are pretty decent. At least everybody's audible, so that's a good thing. That report on Terry doesn't, well, it's a little worse than I had heard earlier, but like someone else said earlier, he's a tough old bird. I'm sure he'll pull through, assuming he has the will to keep going. So we'll be thinking about him and praying for him for certain. All right. I'm going to keep it rolling here. I'm going to pass it over to Brandon, W4GUZ. This is K4QE.
Okay, Tony. Very good. And yes, hello, Brown. I'm sure, certain. I bet money we hadn't worked before, but you're sounding good from Brian's house. A beautiful place there on the lake. I couldn't ask for any better. I do like my mountains, but I have a boat now, so And good deal on the amplifier. That sounds like a beast. I didn't catch the model number, but if you want to repeat that again so I can look the specs up. Tony, thank goodness your wife made it home, and hope, like everyone said, hopefully a very speedy and speedy recovery, and that's the end of that. Mir, I can hear you. Don't take this the wrong way, but you sound like a human tonight. The one sideband throws me for a loop. But you're sounding quite nice tonight. Best I've heard you in a long time. Listen to you guys a lot on the 80-meter old friends net, but you're sounding quite nice tonight. And good deal on finding some more William Culpepper's belongings. Brian, if anybody, I'm sure you have a tally of what he had and where things have went, possibly. Steve, I am going to paint this sucker just as quick as I can, because I'm sure that the tax assessor will easily spot a big green object and probably tag on some more. I may have touched on this earlier, but well, I know I did, but installed the generator to better myself, and it also made the county much wealthier. Generator hooked up, installed. I screwed up by doing what I was told and pulling a building permit, but taxes were $5,000. Get this, $5,000 more this year because I have a generator. Democracy at its best. Anyway, that's about it here. It's 33 degrees, and people keep talking about sleet and snow and all that good stuff that's on its way. I think I've watched every episode of Andy Griffith, but I'm going to have to go back and watch it again just because I need to pay more and more attention to it. And what kills me is these Western movies. For those that don't know, Dave does, but another nasty habit I have is kerosene lanterns. I've cut back, but probably still got a couple hundred, maybe. I don't know. Half of them restored, half of them's hanging here in the basement that I'll probably never touch. And I'm still on this finicky antenna tuner, so I'll make this one short. But what kills me is you watch these 1890, early 1900 Westerns, and everything is pretty much period correct, and then they light up this hot blast or cold blast, two different types of lanterns, but they light those up in the background or have several in the room, and I can very easily tell that they're from the 1950s or 60s. I guess it's whatever movie prop they can get a hold of, but that bugs me. Probably more than it should, but anyway. Yep, Terry, he's going to pull through this. I'm going to try to see him. It'll probably be Sunday before I can get over there, but he is out of ICU into a regular room, so that is a good thing. And we've got Cliff's daughter on the case, so she'll find out all the particulars, hopefully. She was too busy today in the ER because of COVID, flu, strep, all that good stuff. And I'm pretty sure Mission Hospital's still on diversion, so don't plan on going there unless you've got having a heart attack or been in a car wreck, because of all the sick people. Guys, enjoyed it. I'll be listening here for a bit, but supper has arrived. We splurged and actually got some takeout from the Holler here in Bakersfield, which is a nice steakhouse. Dave, for those that's local, if you hadn't tried it yet, it's worth trying. A little on the pricey side, but you got to live every once in a while. 73, I'll be listening here for a bit. John, I don't know if Eric's contacted you or not, but like I said, as far as I know, he's a man of his word, and he'll get up with you and get that. Hope to have his Ranger on the air. It's still sitting here unplugged, hadn't hooked it up yet. If I feel froggy, I may get that done tonight. If not, it'll probably be tomorrow evening, but that's the plan. Tomorrow's a lazy day. The wife's home. She doesn't have to work, and we're going to spend some quality time together, but I'm sure she'll give me a couple hours in the ham shack because she's good like that. I got very lucky. W4JPL and the group: Brian, let's see, Steve, Dave, Gary, Mayor, Tony, Brown, John. Who'd I miss? I think I said Brian twice. Everybody's sounding good here. Mayor, stick with yep, there we go. See you, bye. Standing wave went through the roof. 73.
Okay, Brian. W4JPL. Alright, fine business, son. Thanks for staying away, son. Fine business. Steve, the BidX I got's a version 6. It's sideband and CW, but barely covers 80 through 10 meters, and it's all right, I guess. It's just like I said, you get spoiled when you got a 7610 and or even a 520, and you play with one of these SDR thingies. It's just not my cup of tea. Let's see, what else? Yeah, Mirror, like I said, I can understand you. Like Brandon said, you sound like a person tonight. All right, fellas, well, I'm going to make this my final transmission of the evening. It's getting close to pumpkin time. I didn't get my nap today either. I was too busy playing radios. But like I said, that 303 is going to come together sweet. It's out drying out, and tomorrow I'm going to bring it in and put it on the workbench. And I'm looking for a good copy of the manual for a National 303. If somebody's got a good or original copy of a NC 303, they'd be willing to lend me for a couple days. I will scan it in very high resolution and send it right back to them, and then I'll put it up on Obama, because the one that's up there is crap. So, if anybody's got a copy, let me know. 73, God bless, and carry on with it. KN4R with the big amp, W4JPL.
W4JPL in the group, KN4R. Well, I don't have the big amp, but I do have the original ACOM 1000. And interestingly, the two guys that we visited with, Don Deso of Tower fame, and Gary, W4MQG, who I think is like the #1 DXer in South Carolina, they both use ACOM 1000s, and they have the same original version I do. So that says a lot. We talked a lot about that being a really good amplifier. And Brandon, if you're still listening, the amplifier we brought home was the auto-tune version of the Collins 204H, like in Hotel 1, 204H1. So Brown already had the manual equivalent already, so he wanted this one to stand beside it. So do you have anything else you want to mention or say?
No, it's a pair of 4CX1000. Yeah, that's the lineup there. Yeah. And thing of beauty. It'll need some massaging. Yeah. It's a little dirty, but anyway. And Brandon, the 20V sounds lovely. Yeah. And John, very good on your NC303 Dream receiver. Always admired those. They have a wonderful, wonderful feel. in the tuning department. So good luck with that.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, that email, I guess Charlie sent it out about that handheld HF QRP handy talk, and that was pretty interesting. I looked at that, and I saw it had a BNC connector on top, and they just didn't offer any kind of antenna to come with it. But the funny thing was they were saying that the range was 1.5 miles. And that's like, well, maybe with no antenna, it's 1.5 miles. So, but it does AM, CW, and single sideband. So, and for $129, I wish I would have known that earlier. I would have bought one and take it to Curacao if I could get a right antenna for it, But maybe I could have like a 90 foot long whip. That would be good. So, anyway, okay. So 73s, John, and let's see, I guess, am I at the end of the list? I guess I am. So back to you, Steve, N4LQ in the group, KN4R.
Okay. Anybody else that would like to come in late, give me a call, N4LQ.
N4LQ, W4MEC.
Well, la-dee-da. Speaking of handheld walkie-talkies, there's the man. I think you started that whole thing, didn't you? I saw that thing. Matter of fact, I'm sitting here looking at, there's about 5 million different eBay listings. This one says, this particular one says maximum range approximately less than 1,500 meters, and then which translates to 4,921.26 feet. That's what it says here. But of course there's no one antenna that they could have included anyway, so I can see why they didn't do it. It does look like a good toy though. Go ahead, Charlie, and what's going on up there in W4MEC and 4LQ?
There we go. N4LQ in the group, W4MEC. I don't know how. I'm sure most people aren't copying me. I'm using my Drake C line, barefoot, and this. When I start talking, I see no carrier power whatsoever on my meter. Wait a minute. Put that. Oh, there we go. Got like 10 watts of carrier, and going off the screen here, off my Palomar power meter here. So anyway, I don't know what it sounds like or modulation's right. But anyway, what's going on here? Well, I was looking for something else and I wasn't having any luck, so I just put a generic term in Amazon, which was amateur radio HF transceivers, and it brought up all kinds of odds and ends, and I did see that ad. I thought that was interesting. And I noticed in the ad the guy's operating the radio with no antenna attached to it, and like you said, maybe if it'd go farther than 1,500 feet with an antenna. And truly, if it was an HF radio, it's going to go a lot farther than that. The conditions are right, I'm sure. So, but at that price, it'd be something to play with, I guess, and not be too burned. And I was looking for a front-firing 2-meter single-band 2-meter FM rig, and I had bought one and it did not work properly. I could not get it to program the repeater offset. I wanted to reset it to 5 megacycles every time. And I gave up and sent it back, got my money back, and then I found one on QTH, a similar one for guaranteed to work fine and for $110. So I got that coming. I wanted a small one with a front firing speaker that I could put in my wife's Suburban when I was driving a Suburban. So I got that coming, and the process that made me look at other things that might be available. So anyway, I'm just sitting here building BCRs, which I think stands for battery capacitor replacement, using Farad level capacitors to make backup supplies for my other hobby here, backup units instead of a 9-volt or a 3-volt or a 5-volt nickel cadmium or lithium ion, and if you don't charge them enough, they go dead or they go too low, and these devices won't work without the backup battery in place. They'll work, but they won't do right, and but the BCRs will eliminate the need for the battery. So I'm replacing these somewhat expensive rechargeable batteries with, of course, the 3 and 5 volt only need one of these. What do they call them? The official name for it is, I don't know what the official name for it is. These farad level batteries are capacitors. That's what I think of. And 9 volt take 2 in series of 5.5 volts each, 1.5 farads, and they do hold everything in place when you, just like they're supposed to, like the battery does. But you don't have to worry about them ever going bad or leaking. So that's the evening project. So I'm not sure who it goes to. I was working on a list here, and I got 3, 6, 7 names on it, but I don't know where it goes. N4LQ in the group, W4MEC.
Okay, yeah, you're at the end of the list, and I'm at the top. So W4MEC, N4LQ, that's what got things started out wrong here. I didn't write my own call down, and then when it came Dave's turn, I skipped him because he was at the top of the list, and I thought he was me. Now, that just shows you how bad off I am. Oh, anyway, let's see here. Oh, real fine on that little handheld. I guess it'd be fun to play with. I mean, it's only 120. I saw one for 124 free shipping, so you know, you could take the approach that you don't have much to lose, but you got enough there to drive an amplifier and put out 100 watts easy. So it'd be kind of neat to put it on the band on the AM net. See what happens. I don't know. I'm not sure what you got there, but the Chinese come up with some pretty good products, and there's one transceiver on there that I'm very tempted to buy. You know, it does everything that a ICOM 705 will. Bigger display, 100 watts. It's about, 2 inches thick is all it is, but it's got a big display on it, and all modes, all bands. Boy, I tell you, it's tempting. And it's even got synchronous AM, and I think that's probably the only ham transceiver I've seen with synchronous AM on it. It's $1,000, but it's also got lithium batteries in it for portable use, and just on and on. So it's a pretty neat deal. If you want to look it up, it's a RX-Ray 998, or no, RS, excuse me, Radio Shack, RS-998. And let's see, John JPL was looking for a 303 manual. Good luck on that one. Anyway, I was talking to was it Brandon last night, and his SWR goes up because his balun in that Palstar tuner gets too hot, and once the toroid gets hot enough, it reaches the Curie temperature, and when it gets to the Curie temperature, its permeability drops down to almost nothing real quick, and it's no longer a toroid, it's just a brick. And then as soon as it cools off, then it's back at it again, good for another round. You can put a fan on it, but I think he's got some common mode on it like I did. You get common mode current from the feed line being resonant, and that was my trouble. So I was doing some experimenting today on that. Hope I don't bore you with this, but if you want to find out what your system, your antenna system's resonant frequency is, and I'm not talking about measuring between the two terminals of your ladder line. I'm talking about shorting the ladder line together and taking a grid dip meter and just coupling that to the feed line and get a resonant frequency measurement of the antenna system as a whole. And well, anyway, my loop comes out 2.6 megahertz, but before it was resonating up in the 80 meter band, and So it was just acting like its own antenna, the feed line was. So what happens is the RF coming off the antenna crosses through the feed line. There's no phase difference between the two legs of it because, you know, the entire body of the RF is hitting the feed line, causing all this extra current to flow through the ballon. And of course that's what ballons do. They choke off the common mode current, and it was getting really hot. So I added about 30 feet of feed line and got the whole system away from its natural resonant frequency, and now it is cool. It doesn't even get warm to the touch with full power on it. So I had never thought about that before, but if you got a grid dip meter, just short the leads out on the feed line, of course disconnect it from the tuner, and just wrap your little short wire or alligator clip wire around your probe on the grid dip meter and sweep it, find out where it's resonating. And if it's where you want to operate, then you need to change the length of the feed line. Okay, I'm not talking anymore. WA4LLR, N4LQ.
Okie dokie, N4LQ and the group, WA4LLR. Well, 7-3, Brandon, bon appetit. Have a good supper. 7-3 to you, John. Maybe hear you guys in the morning. That's an interesting little multi-mode handheld that Charlie sent out an ad on. I never could find anywhere they listed the power output of the transmitter. Maybe somebody did, but I saw where they said the range was about 1.5 miles. It must be 100 milliwatts or something. I don't know. Of course, now if a fella had that amplifier that Brown and Brian have down there, that would be just fine. You could get a kW and a half probably out of it. One little, just FYI, we were talking about the Andy Griffith radios, and I pulled up a screenshot and was looking at it, and it appears what they have, both those are ICOs. The bottom one, of course, is the 720. The top one is a 770, which is a CB transceiver. They just don't have a mic plugged into it, but on careful examination, that appears to be 2 ICOs they got in there. Let's see what else. Not much more here. I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. Good evening to you, Charlie. I'm copying your Drake just fine over here. No problem. And Brandon asked me to pass something on to you, Steve. He says, you got some hum tonight. And I'm running a very large speaker on this 129, and I listened close, and I could hear a little myself. It's not very noticeable, and unless I was listening close, I wouldn't hear it, but there is a little bit in there. But, you know, what can you say? It's vintage gear. Gentlemen, have a good evening. 7-3, God bless, and Lord willing, we'll catch some of you in the morning. K3OS, WA4LLR.
Okay, Dave, WA4LLR, K3OS. I'm going to join you and bow out on this round 2. It's been great talking to everybody, as always. I think I saw that ad on the handheld. Interesting. They did a little further on it. A couple of milliwatts on 2 meters than on that thing. Anyway, 73s, and we look forward to talking to you all you guys again. I'll keep working on my stuff here. We'll see where it goes. Down to Mir, WF2U, K3OS.
Yeah, Roger, K3OS, the group WF2U. Yeah, very good, Gary. And you sound good tonight also. And Charlie, you sounding good. The funniest thing is that after the old friends met, I thought you might be still listening, so I was telling a whole story about Sweet Liberty. my ex-wife Nancy was an extra in there, and so were several of my friends when we belonged to the Brigade of the American Revolution. But I don't want to take the time with that story again. But anyway, she has a great album of photos that she's standing like next to Olga, having breakfast and all that. So I couldn't go because I couldn't take any time off from work at that time. I was in a hurry to finish the project. Anyway, so that was really funny. And what else? Yeah, Brian GUZ sounded really pretty strong here. I guess he signed. Brown, it was very nice to hear you, and good luck with that amplifier. And very nice that you're around here. Maybe, well, Shelby's coming up in about 6 months? No, 6, 7 months, almost. And we'll see you then, I guess, if not before. There should be some headfest at the end. But anyway, I have to also, it's my time to disappear and let the dogs out. So, 73, everybody, and it was nice to hear the whole group here. And let's see if you're still there, Tony. Otherwise, just whoever it goes to. K4QE in the group. This is WFTU 73, but I'll listen to the end.
All right, very good. Good on all. Heard everybody out there, and good night to everyone that has signed out so far. And again, thank you for the well wishes, everyone. Appreciate it very, very much. Can't tell you how much. And I'm going to step out of here myself. So everyone have a great night. I will not be in here tomorrow night. I have a meeting with my local astronomy club. But I will be around on Saturday. So everyone enjoy their Friday, and take care, everyone. I'm not sure who's left. Brandon signed out, John signed out. I think Brian is still here, so if not, I don't know who takes it after that. I heard Charlie too, so good evening, Charlie. This is K4QE. Good evening.
Yeah, okay, John, JPL, are you still in there?
He checked out.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure. So anyway, okay, this is KN4R and W1NZR. Very good. We've enjoyed it. It was fun, and we're gonna get we're gonna get Brown participating from his home QTH here pretty soon. So yep. So and I'll look up that RS998 transceiver. That sounds good. And I think that little HT, I think it puts out 5 watts on high and like 1 watt low, but you know, that's a whole lot better than a BC611, so I might just splurge for one. It'd be fun to play with the antennas with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and say 73s and pass the microphone here to Brown.
Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. A good evening to all of you, and as Brian says, I need to put up a 160 antenna at my Eastern North Carolina QTH and join in the fun here, but thanks for letting me in. Always a pleasure. So a very, very good evening to you from W1NZR KN4. Back to Brian.
All right, very good. And I'll be gone Saturday through Saturday, but I'm going to try to make my presence known here on remote, but I'll only be running 25 watts on AM. If if you happen to hear me at all. So we'll see, but I'm going to have a little fun. So 73s, and over to you, Charlie. W4MEC in the group, KN4R.
Okay, Brian, KN4R in the group, W4MEC. All right, fellas. Good to catch up with you tonight. I'm looking at my S-meter here, and like Steve, you're 40 over. So that's about the average for most folks. I guess if everybody's hearing me, I don't need to fire up the amplifier to amplify my 10-watt carrier. Rest in chair. There we go. I must have a loose mic connection. I got 10 watts of carrier, and my voice is peaking at a whopping 5 watts on the peaks. So that's plenty to drop Kenwood TL whatever. And if I need it, I can bring it up. But so it seems to be working with puny power here. I was going to comment about the fellow looking for the NC303. I did a quick look on mods.dk, which is the German version of Bama, and then I looked at Bama, and they had the same manual on both sites. But when I looked at it, everything seemed to be fairly clear. If you're looking at schematics, you could see all the component parts, even the ones 0.1 microfarad. So the schematic looks fairly clear, but maybe there's some kind of textual mistake in it that hadn't been corrected. But anyway, but if you're apparently that's the only one out there is that particular copy. So good to talk to everybody, or listen to everybody tonight, and we'll try and make it back here. Now, I do have a DX100 Bravo, and I need to get it going. It has 160 in it, and I've got one. This Mohawk receiver has got 160 in it, but for some reason, Heathkit, when they modified the 100B, to what became the Apache, and they basically all they did was add the connectors so you could put the slap band adapter into it easily. They left 160 out, so would have been nice if they would have left it in. So anyway, 7-3R, we'll catch up with you on Sunday afternoon. N4LQ in the group, W4MEC.
Okay, Charlie. W4MEC in the group. N4LQ. Yeah, I can see that hum of mine. It's not really a hum type of hum. It's coming off the monitor, and I've got the monitor cord laying across the AF67. It was actually laying right on the audio tube. And let's see here. Yeah, I can see it kind of change as I move it around. But being out of the cabinet with the monitor sitting right on top of it, it's causing a bit of a problem. Well, I do hope you get that 160B on 160 here, and then you can just have two of them running and switch back and forth between rigs. Pretty good. That walkie-talkie thingamajig. There's some of the ads on eBay have got more detail than others. Let's see. This says 0.1 to 5 watts for SSB and CW. Same for AM. Well, input 100 to 240 volts. Output 12.6 volts at 1 amp. Now that doesn't make sense. I don't understand how they could say the input is 240 volts. Obviously, somebody didn't know what they were talking about. Here's a nice note. Since the product configuration of low-pass filter is 10, 15, 20, and 40 meters, 4 bands, the user needs to match another low-pass filter to suppress stray harmonics. Stray harmonics? Yeah. And there was something else I saw. It was sort of a DIY product, they called it. And it said some of the jacks may not be in the same place as other jacks, so they may not match. So it's the whole thing's a little iffy, I would say. Anyway, I think I'm talking to myself. I don't think anybody else is here. Just Charlie. Charlie, are you going to hang around a while?
Yeah, I'm just sitting here, like I said, soldering battery things together.
Yeah, I'm sitting here soldering a jumper braid together. I've got crocodile clips on each end of it, and the solder had kind of gotten crusty, so I'm resoldering that. It's about a foot long. I use it for heavy-duty experiments around here. So, anyway, I got another LMAC 1070 power supply. Came in a couple days ago, and I'm stripping it down. I'm going to put a filter choke in it, like this other one here. I did Lee's. It's ready to go back to him. Wish I could get it back to him quicker, but I don't know. He just said wait till the old friend's luncheon and we'll do it then. Speaking of which, I went to Golden Corral with the XYL today, and we had a little feast there. We were going to go to Olive Garden, but she didn't feel like riding all the way to Gastonia, which is about 20-mile drive. Anyhow, I guess, yeah, some of those manual copies, some of those things I see on Bama are a little bit fuzzy looking. They tend to get blotchy, I guess. Anyhow, all right, I don't think, is anybody else left except Charlie?
Well, Brown and I are sitting here listening to you guys, so I guess we're still here.
Well, okay. Well, chime right in there and give us some more gab. I mean, we got some more time left.
We're running out of steam here. It's been a busy day, so I will send you some pictures. So I'll put them on the old friends net, and yeah, but I think that little handheld's pretty cool. So it sounds like it might be a work in progress. The money doesn't sound too bad if it even works at all. But I'm going to look up the RS998. That sounds very interesting. And now is that, Steve? Is that related to the RX 888 SDR receiver?
No, other than the fact it came from China, and I can't really imagine what's going on over there in China. I have seen production lines set up, and I think these guys invent things one night and the next day it's in production, and they've got all this labor and tooling and everything on tap, and they can set up and get things into production just overnight, it seems like. But that RS998, I've seen some reviews on it, and there's some YouTube videos, and it's very impressive. It's got some features on it that's even beyond that of ICOM, and I haven't seen any test done on it, just no Sherwood test or anything like that. But boy, it looks like a real deal. Let me get this straight. Did you get two things, an amplifier and the BTA, which I think is an RCA product? Is that correct?
No, a couple of days ago, Kelly Culpepper and I went over to a transmitter site, and they were bringing some other people that came in. William had stuff scattered all around, and so two people brought stuff in that was mainly test gear that was owned by William, and they brought it back. They were going to store it at the transmitter site. Well, Kelly was there, and I said, Kelly, why don't we go ahead and load up your car and my car, and take what we can, and we did that and took it over to Kelly's storage building on Monroe Road. But in that transmitter building also are two BTA1M transmitters, and they're pair of 833s modulated by a pair of 833s, and they are up for grabs. So we need to find new homes for them. And there's also there was a shelf of I would say 4 or 5 or 6 brand new 833s in boxes there too. So those are also available. So so that's what. There's also a BC610
E or earlier model in there too, and I might end up trying to get that. So and it does have the speech amp. We already brought that home. So anyway, it's just a bunch of stuff, and but I'll send you pictures of the two BTA-1Ms. We just, you know, somebody serious. They're pretty big. They're 7 feet tall, and they're probably 2.5 feet deep, something like that. I mean, they're pretty deep as well. So, and these are the M's. They have like a sliding louvered door instead of a full glass on the front. So anyway, I'll send you some pictures. And N4LQ, KN4R.
Okay, it's N4LQ. Well, I guess I could put those in the. I'll get rid of this washer and dryer. Don't need that. And the freezer. Yeah, should fit right in there. And let's see. Yeah, the laundry sink too. I should clean that junk out of there. I could load it up with transmitters. Of course, I don't know. I guess I wouldn't have any clean clothes to wear for a while. Oh well, I can only handle so much here, I guess. And one more question: the RCA, aren't they the ones that made BTAs?
That's right. It's RCA BTA-1M, like in Mike's, and there's 2 of them. They were on 1150. They were up at WCNT in Pennsylvania, I believe.
Pennsylvania? Huh. Okay. That's interesting. That's probably a long story behind those. Well, anyway, Charlie, I'm copying that Drake stuff just fine. It doesn't sound like any DX100, but it's okay. Could you hear my hum change when I was moving the cord around? If you listen real close, let me see if it makes any difference. I better not do that. I'm gonna get my fingers shocked on that 6146 back there. W4MEC N4LQ.
N4LQ W4MEC. I hear a hum in there, but I mean, it's hard to tell if it's you or something else. I mean, you're 40 foot over on the Drake receiver, and my receiver is calibrated. F9 is 50 microvolts, so you've got a bodacious signal here. And if there is some on it, you would think I would hear it, but I really don't. So, but I'm using a Drake speaker. Maybe it's not resonant at 60 hertz. I don't know. Anyway, curious about those broadcast transmitters when they need to be taken or got. Does that mean that they're free, or are they going to sell them? I'd be interested in that. And the VC610, that sounds interesting too, but it sounds like Brian has got his hooks on that one, so that's good to know where it's going. I know John has got one for sale, and I think it's a little out of my league. Well, I wouldn't mind having one to add to the collection there, but don't tell Buddy or you get mad at me, because he's still waiting for me to get that ART-13 on the air. But it's been so darn cold in my shack. It was. I went out there. I have a line hog electric heater in here, 4 kilowatts, and it doesn't put a dent in it. I went out there a while ago and it was 34 degrees. I need to get my Carasun heater going, but I need to get a new wick for it. No round wick that fits in. Now that baby will make it toasty in there, but that 4 kilowatts electric heater is not putting a dent in it. So I'll get to it. Anyway, so that's it. I really can't hear you. N4LQ W4MEC.
Okay. Yep. You need another transmitter. And Brian, if you get that BC610, you need to take an oath that you're going to get it up and running. Well, I've got the mic closed here. I can see my hum on the scope. Let me pull this thing out. Trying to figure out what's causing it. Little fuzzy bunch of stuff on the screen. Yeah, oh well. I'm not going to worry about it tonight. Anyhow, let's see. I'm just about to run down here. Nope, I don't want to get into that. I guess that is about all I've got here. Go ahead, Brian. KN4R, N4LQ.
Yep, Roger. N4LQ and the group KN4R. Yep, very good. Yeah, we're kind of run down here too. But Charlie, there's no rush on getting them out of the transmitter site, but they are basically free, and need to go to a good home. Not somebody's just going to try to make a few bucks on them. So that's the challenge. I won't try to make any money on them, but so what do you do? So, 833s, that transmitter will be drawing 400 watts just idling with those 4 833s in there, but quite a light show. So, but I'll send out a few pictures. So, anyway, that's all I can say about that, Charlie. W4MEC, and I really do prefer you not being on Drake's, Charlie. You sound a lot better on your other gear. So, W4MEC in the group, KN4R.
Okay, Brian, KN4R, W4MEC. Well, the first thing I'll have to do is reinforce my spot where I'm going to put the DX100B. It's a simple little shelf. It's about a foot deep, but it's 4 shelves on it, 36 inches wide. But it's going to need some support in the middle. It'll need 4 supports from the floor up. 1, 2, 3, 4, yep. And then I could put it on there. And so that's the hardest part is getting it in here. Like the Apache, it's 100 pounds also. So anyway, all right. Well, good to talk to you fellas. You carry on and have a good rest of the evening here. And we'll look for you on Sunday afternoon. KN4R and N4LQ 73W4.
Okay. All right, that's about it for the night then, folks. Yeah, Charlie, what you could do is unplug that Drake stuff and use it for a brace to hold up the DX100. How's that for an idea? See y'all tomorrow night, I hope. Now, tomorrow night is Friday night. Yeah, Saturday night is the night that we have the AMQR Mary from our buddy over in Missouri. But we'll survive. 73s, thanks you guys for showing up tonight. Appreciate it. N4LQ closing the net. 73.
Good night, Steve. Good night, Charlie. Have a good one. KN4R and W1NZR.
Good night, gentlemen. Radio.
Night.